Clinical logs, you know exactly where to put them. We're still using the electronic system for you to log your hours. You're not gonna put them in here anymore. But I am gonna create a column in the grading system to say that you have completed it. Okay, so I will be able to put that, after I've checked it, I will put it on the blackboard, says completed. So we will not have any questions about the completion of that, but I will check them where we're supposed to check them in the original stuff. Okay, so it is an expectation that as you are doing your hours, that you're updating in your clinical logs, just like we did last semester. Okay?
I have a question. Can we start putting now or should we?
Yes, yeah. Well, officially, class started last week. Okay, so the semester started last week. This is our first get-together, but the semester started last week.
Okay.
So you could put your hours from last week and this week in the system. Okay, so it is totally legal for you to be able to do that. This is our first weekend, first MSN weekend. So for today, what we're gonna do is give you and discuss the your clinical location, what's happening there, where you are with that, any questions, etc. We're gonna go over the other activities that you're gonna be doing and some of the expectations of the class. We also gonna give you an extra assignments for this course. So we have 2 major assignments, not a lot, but you know, the assignments do have a lot of different pieces. So we'll talk about the pieces. So this semester is not about quantity, it's about the quality of the work that you're gonna be doing and how you're gonna present it. Part of the work that you're doing for this classroom is also being covered in your evidence-based practice course, right? So we're using some of the same data, the same information, it's just gonna be presented in this course in a different format, your outcome. And the next time we meet will be April 22nd. So we will talk about your clinical hours. You know, we will be talking discussion format like we usually do. And we will also give you the first draft of your posters. So I want to see that you're gonna start putting it together. And you're not gonna have everything ready. So we're gonna talk about what you need today, what you're gonna need to start putting on the template. We could start talking about the abstract because you already have your question, right? Your people questions already formulated. So some of those things could already be uploaded into the template for your poster, right? And also we will start talking about the executive order. Usually an executive order is completed when you complete the entire project or your entire report. But we're not going to be meeting for the entire report till the end, so we could start formulating some of the executive orders so you could start taking shape. Especially, it follows just the design just like any other report. You have your introduction, what it's about, right? And then you're going to have the meat and the potatoes that I usually call it, which is the center, when you talk about what did you do, how did you do it, and then the end's going to be what was the result, what was the outcome, and your recommendations. So we're going to go over executive report a little bit, and it should be very concise and to the point. And for this course, it's 1 to 2 pages, 2 pages max. I don't want to say more than 2 pages.
Exactly.
Yeah, because your report is not going to be 100 pages. Executive report never go over like 10 pages. And this is for like a 200-page report, for example, would be about 10 pages. A CEO or CFO do not want to sit there and read the entire report. They want a summary of the report and to see if they're interested in your project or not. So this is like a marketing campaign, right? So you're marketing yourself, you're marketing your project. How do you best present your project so it could be accepted? So if you want a CEO or somebody else to read your project, your executive summary has to be very concise and have the best summary, put your best foot forward. That's an executive summary. And we'll go over some of the examples for you to be able to see how you should put yours together.
So Dr. Ina, you said 2 pages. Is it double space or?
2 pages, you're going to follow APA format. APA format, which is double space, right? And your indentation, just, you know.
No indentation, you said?
With the indentation, just like your normal indentation. So we're going to do it because it's going to become part. You could talk with your evidence-based practice professor, the other report you're going to do. they might be very happy for you to have it along with part of your report.
Mhm.
And I have some samples to show you where other students have it as part of the regular report, and it's like at the beginning of the report.
Are we each writing one, or are we doing?
As your group,
Oh,
Mhm.
so.
because you're turning your assignments as a group, because you guys are dyads, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be presented as a group, the two of you would collaborate and turn it in.
So just me individual. 'Cause
Right.
we have
Well, if that,
two in our, are in the admin group.
she can, because if she's going to be putting that as part of the report, if she's working on the other one.
That's their
So,
assignment.
yeah,
Oh.
well, I don't know if that's gonna be the assignment, but she's not gonna lose anything.
Yeah.
She's only have something to gain by doing it with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So to me, it's like knowledge is never wasted, so it would be good for her to do it as well.
Mhm.
So, that would be weekend number 2, which is April 21st. Now, our last one, which would be, May 5th, is our final, get-together. Okay, so, the final draft of your poster is due, okay? Your final draft of the executive summary is due. Your clinical logs must be uploaded. And also, you will be presenting your poster that day. Now, I'm giving you a choice. You could do it electronically, but you'll have to present it just like you were presenting it on paper or on the board, right? So you're gonna have to go tell the story from the left all the way to the end to the right, okay? So I'm gonna expect that same type of presentation. Now, if you're gonna present that at regional, what I would suggest to you, and what has been very effective with other students that I've taught before, is to present that, make a copy of that poster, put it and give it to the, to regional, for example, because you're at regional now, give it to the service industry as a gift, okay? And it'll cost you, between the 2 or 3 of you, if you do it online, or even, it's about 30 or 40 bucks to have a good size one, put it on a hard cardboard. And they can use that for their, for education, for their staff. And also they can use it to show some of the quality work that they've been doing. So when they have certification coming up, they would use those as, and they'll have you come in and present it during education week or something like that for their staff, which give you the experience that you need to learn how to present. And that also, you could put that on your resume. So now that you are on a long life journey of continuous education, you didn't really get into that, right? So it will behoove you to start learning how to do that. And also, this is just the beginning. And I'm hoping after you do this presentation, you will start presenting at conferences, start presenting at your work, and know how to put it together to present at your job. I think those are the expectations once you get to this level. And it's disseminating the information that you have, right? So if you're doing the work and you're finding great outcome, but you're not disseminating the information, so you might as well not do it because other people are not learning from you, right? So the thing is to share and for us to be able to learn from one another. Just like you've been doing research and looking at somebody else's work, somebody else want to see what you've been doing, what you're up to, okay? So that's the 3rd week. Now we got some poster samples. Let's see if we could open this up.
Are you opening the first one up right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have it?
Yeah, I'm opening it right now.
Let's see. Should be able to just open it up without.
I'm able to see.
The PowerPoint,
Yeah,
right?
it's a PowerPoint.
Okay, so it's like I got 3 samples of that first one is 3 samples of the same PowerPoint. This is to show you, let's see if we could do it fully. Okay, this is just to give you a sense of what the student went through. So as I'm working with the student, right, and then the student is submitting back to me, and we have that interaction, we get that feedback. So we're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna be sending your sample, your first draft, second draft, and I'm gonna say, move this here, this look good, this color doesn't work, and you might wanna take some of your outcome, because what you're trying to do is tell a story. Okay, so let's look at this one, for example, the first one. So the story when you start from the left. Top left is how you start the story. So that story starts with the abstract. So you telling the reader or the person who's attending your conference or the person that's at your poster on your side, you're gonna say, this is what the problem is, or this is the situation, this was the opportunity, this is why I've created this work, right? So that's the beginning. So that's the beginning of your story. So the second part, not every single presentation is said the same way, but it's always start with the abstract or the problem, so you always tell that part first. And the second part is a little bit more fluid. So it depends on what's important in that project that you're working on. So if stakeholders is the next important things, which is like the second part here, you might want to put it here, right? Because it's the nurses are affected, patients are affected, the nurse managers are affected, the leaders are affected, so you want to do that. So the third part here is that, what was it that helped transform this before you get to discerning? So what did you do? So what kind of theory did you use? Remember when we talk about the course description, we talked about theoretical changes and stuff, right? So this person actually, in order for them to be effective to make this change, they use change theory. So in your work that you're doing in your evidence-based practice class, you're going to be using the theory, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that theory would be placed here. So instead of writing it up, like in a huge paragraph or 1 or 2 pages, it's going to be summarized in small ways. And then what you're talking about it, you would be given the same information as if you had written that full-page paper. You're going to write that full-page paper. But here on your poster, it is summarized. And then you could choose which manner to put it in, what kind of boxes to use. And this here, I don't know if you're ever familiar with this, and you could read on it.
In the change theory, I remember we are mentioning the change theory, right? So we just need to make more focus, just to focus on the change theory, right? Which change theory we used.
It doesn't have to be change theory. It's up to you what theory you're using. Okay? So you're doing a project, and I'm going to show you another example where they didn't use the change theory. You don't have to use change theory. I mean, you may be able to use more than one theory, but there's going to be one main theory that's going to be guiding the work that you're doing, right? So it's going to be, yours is going to be...
Behavior. We all talked about behavioral change.
But then there's only one theory that we can put in the poster that we know.
You could put more than one theory.
We could put both, because we actually use 2 theories for
That's fine.
most of us.
Yeah. So if you're using 2 theories, you could put it 2 separate boxes for your theory. And it could spill over, so you start here and then you're going to go back to the top here. So you could spill over to the next box, okay? You're going to have to make a decision on what you're using,
Right.
okay? So are you familiar with the Ishikawa diagram?
No.
Okay, so we'll cover that up as well, and I'm going to give you some, and you could Google it. And that diagram is what helped you decide on how to proceed. It helps you see where the problems are, where are the barriers, where are the bottlenecks. Yes?
Is it some kind of a fishbone?
It's like the fishbone.
Fishbone, yeah.
Yeah.
I've said before.
It's just the official name is Ishikawa. That's the person that invented it. But it's the fishbone diagram.
Does it
right?
have to be an Ishikawa diagram, or can it be just like a workflow diagram?
It's up to you.
Okay.
It's up to you. But I will take a look and see what kind of diagram you use and see if it's clear enough. If it's not clear enough, I might suggest you use a different diagram.
So basically, we are just talking about like what are the main barriers, right?
Right. Because when you're working out a problem, right? Okay, here's the problem. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm going to the ER and people are complaining, you have patients, you are in charge of finding out why patients are dissatisfied with your service in the ER. So you're going to start taking a look, okay, when did the person come in Was it like, is it always bottleneck from 2 to 4 p.m. or 12 to 1? Or do we have enough staff during that time? So you have a lot of issues you're gonna be looking at. And under each one of those, you may have several other things, right? So between 2 and 4 p.m., maybe that's the time that all the nurses are taking break, maybe there's no nurse manager, or maybe there's no CNAs available, maybe there's no parking, maybe there is we already full from earlier, and we got to spill over from people that came in from 2 to 12. Maybe during that time we had a lot of patients that were very sick, and we had some critical stuff. So for each one of those, right, for each one of those main ones here, you're going to have some subset. Okay? So we'll cover that a little bit more, because this is not very clear. And psychopediatrics, everybody is familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a good one to use. You can't go wrong, right? Plan, do, check, act. We use it in the hospital all the time. Use that. Put that in your plan. Find out, what was your plan? What did you do? The study or your interaction or your interventions. And then when you do the intervention, you do the act, right? And you implement it. And then you start all over again, because now you're going to check and see, did my intervention work? Did I do it right with the implementation? So it's always a full cycle on that. Okay, so this one had an option presentation, methodology. It's your timeline. We covered timeline before. We talk about you creating a timeline to get the work done, right? And there are different methodologies for you to report your timeline. You could use this methodology, or you could use a Gantt chart. There are a lot of ways to, but you're gonna say, this is the start of the program, this is when I started, the date, and then what are the different steps, and when did you finish? So that is the mark of a good project manager, because remember, that's one of the topics we talked about, that's one of the things that you will become project manager. You have to manage your project. And you have to show how did you manage that project, what the methodology that you use. So the next